everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris.
I'm Russ.
And this is episode 172.
172, back in the nerd basements, but we, of course, are continuing our COVID-19 quarantine shows. And it has been, it's a little weird, but we are doing our best to figure this out. Sorry we're a little late in our stream tonight, guys. Chris and I had to, well, Chris mainly, had to figure out the technical issues of starting this out, so bear with us while we continue to do this.
A few minor technical, well, they didn't turn out to be so minor, but minor technical difficulties.
It's alright though, you figured it out? You got it? You got it squared away? It's all good?
It required a reboot of the computer. That's what it...
Yeah.
Turn it off and turn it back on again.
Yeah, you had to pull the old IT crowd on your machine there.
Yeah, that's a great show too. If you like British humor, the IT crowd is
one of the best.
A great show.
One of the best. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite age well, mainly because, I guess the show itself ages okay, but then there's just a lot of what little technical jargon, shows its age after a while. So it's kind of funny, but still a really fantastic show. It's on Netflix if you guys get a chance. If you are not aware of the IT crowd, it is a British sitcom, so the seasons are relatively short, something like 10 episodes at the most. They also took a big break between a couple of seasons, a couple of the last seasons there was a couple year break. So but it is still a fantastic show.
Well, it's funny. I actually just started watching another show that did something similar, where it took years off between seasons.
Which show was that?
Development.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've never watched it. One of my buddies was telling me about it. He's like, I just started rewatching it again, and I can't stop watching it. And I'm like, you know what? That's one that's always come up for me, and I've never watched. So it's always come up in Netflix and Hulu and stuff as things you might like. And so I'm like, you know what? I'll look it up. So I looked it up on Hulu today and started watching it. I watched 5 episodes this afternoon I can't stop watching the damn thing. It's
see, the interesting thing is when the first couple of seasons of that show, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And they filmed it. It was on network television. I think it was on Fox or something like that. And it got canceled, I think, after its second or third season. And it was this huge, outcry and people really thought it was brilliant. The thing is, so then eventually it was one of the first shows to get picked up by a streaming service and continued, right? Mm-hmm. The thing about it was a lot of the actors that were on the show originally had gone on to do other things at that point. Particularly Bateman, who became whose star had risen quite a bit, partially because of that show. Also the kid who plays his son,
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera, thank you. So the thing is when they did decide to go back and film another season, they had to work around a lot of very busy schedules. So the following seasons after the show got canceled and brought to Netflix, it's very oddly filmed because, like I said, they had to film in chunks depending on when certain actors were available. So it's actually really, really weird how they ended up doing it, and it does kind of it kind of shows a little bit about how the in the difference from the first couple of seasons that were network and the next couple, but I haven't watched the most recent season yet, but I got to go back and finish that one up because it was pretty funny. I finished up a show the other day, just last night. Orange is the New Black.
See, I never got into that show.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a really, really good show. It's by Genji Kohan, who was the producer of Weeds, the show Weeds,
which I like.
And it very much has her flavor of storytelling and whatnot. It's a really good show. Some seasons were a little bit better than others, but overall, a really good show. But it's also very much a show of it. It's not like your typical sci-fi fantasy show or anything like that. It's a show grounded very much in reality. I mean, it's about women in prison, and it's a lot of the stories are based. I mean, it's based entirely on this one woman, Piper. The main character is based on a real woman and her real experiences in prison. So it's very realistic, but and it's depressing, but then oddly enough, weirdly funny at times too, and it's got some really great characters. If you ever get the opportunity, I mean, and you're looking for something different, I would definitely recommend it. But it can be really heavy. I mean, and it's 7 seasons of like 12 to 13 episode hour long episodes. So you can't it's not like Letterkenny where you could like binge it in an afternoon.
Let's just finish that up too. Finally caught up, and I'm like, God damn it! Now I want more.
I know, right? That's one of those shows that definitely makes you go. It leaves you wanting more all the time. Like, I mean, how the season ended.
Yeah.
Where they're all just going to kick his ass, Yeah. And it's just like, holy shit.
They mentioned several times throughout that season, if you fuck this up, if you hurt her, then you will have every guy in Letterkenny lined up to beat your ass.
Right, exactly. And they all went a running, They went to Michigan. They went to him. Yep. That was the other thing that was a kind of a bummer. The fact that he's definitely from Michigan. Uh-huh. So
hey, but not all Michigan guys are assholes like that. It's
No, not thankfully. But in fact, I don't know anybody that talks like that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know a single person that talks like that asshole.
No, that was kind of annoying. That was actually one of the things I didn't like about the season.
Yeah, and the fact that eventually Katie started to talk like him a little bit too. You're like, son of a bitch. I did not like that. But looks like Steve is listening.
Yep, from Belfast.
Hello from Belfast. And I don't know. Which one is Wings Cook? That's one of your brothers-in-law, right?
That's Renee.
Oh, is that Renee?
And then we got Ed, and it looks like Bob are on as well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Friends.
So what else? How was your week, man?
It had its ups and downs. As for those that watched last week, I'm sure you can tell I am clean shaven now. I shaved the beard off.
Good for you. Good for you.
It's finally staying up in like the 50s or in that area. It was time. I'll tell you what, it feels weird. The first time you shave it off, and the air hits your face, like especially just walking and feeling the breeze go by. It's a really weird feeling. So
how do you think I felt? I mean, like your beard came and went depending on years and whatever. I had my beard and mustache for well over almost 2 decades.
Yeah, and I've heard lots of people,
when
including Renee, say Russ needs to grow his beard back.
Yeah, I've had a number of people that have said that. So. But I don't know. I'm still getting used to this. Still, it feels that I need to trim the sideburns a bit because they're definitely where the most gray comes out. But I don't know. It's the whole clean shaven thing is growing on me, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Well, that's one thing that Renee's always said she likes me with or without the beard. But she's like, you shaved the beard, did 20 minutes, you lost 15 years.
Yeah, it's true. You do. But that's the thing. Like. I've always felt that my face benefits from a border, so that's like the beard creates a border on my chin and from my neck, and I think the same thing for a lot of guys like your face would probably also benefit from that same border. I don't think I'll ever go with like a fucking big ass bushy beard, but I don't. That would never suit me, but
I don't know.
But maybe eventually
I could see you with
there.
like the little braid down the middle, just.
I did get it down to a point at one point, just kind of came out, I think maybe, the beard will eventually be back, but I don't know. I've been rocking this for about a year and a half, too. It's been over a year now, or has it been 2? It's definitely. I think it's been almost 2 years now.
Embrace your mutton chops.
Yeah, she would kill me if I actually let the mutton chops run.
But yeah, other than that though, I did that and then promptly turned around and got sick.
Oh no.
It was a scary day. Although it wasn't, I didn't have the cough or anything like that. I did have a fever. Got up to almost 102
Ooh.
on Sunday. Yeah, and so Renee was really concerned. But again, I didn't have any of the other symptoms of COVID, so I was okay. My chest was hurting, but I think a lot of that had to do with just the fact that I was sleeping most of the day. I mean, I spent almost 24 hours just sleeping, off and on.
Wow.
I started streaming Buffy to the TV in the bedroom and just slept, woke up, watched some Buffy, slept, woke up, watched some Buffy. So did that for a good chunk of the day, and then wound up getting up on Monday, and actually my fever broke sometime Sunday night, I think, into early Monday morning, and felt a lot better, and then felt even better today. I think actually what it was I think it was food poisoning.
Oh, well, food poisoning usually doesn't have a fever
I didn't
attached
think so
to
either,
it.
but I looked up to see because I had other symptoms. I wasn't throwing up, but I was sitting a lot. And the but I looked it up, and it actually says that it actually can be one of the symptoms of food poisoning is a fever.
Really? Huh. Dragish. That sucks,
Everything
man.
I've read is that if you
But
get
at
like
least-
a 24-hour bug, that's usually food poisoning.
Yes, 24-hour flu. There's no such thing as a 24-hour flu. Anytime that you have the 24-hour flu, it's a form of food poisoning.
Yeah. Well, and one of the symptoms of a flu is fever. So.
Very interesting. I did not know that fever could be part of it.
So that was pretty much my weekend. I mean, other than that, it was basically getting this show up on, getting the audio up for the regular podcast, getting the video up on YouTube.
Right.
After this, our shows should actually be up on Twitch at least for 2 weeks after the show as an archive, and then I'll make sure I'm going to keep putting them up on YouTube as well. This has all been a learning curve. So yes, again, apologies for starting late. This was a complete and total learning curve. It basically came down to needing to reboot, which I'll make sure that I do before next week's show.
Well, yeah, sounds good. I about the same kind of thing. I mean, I pretty much we just kind of been doing the home quarantine thingy. Stella is actually currently in class right now on the interwebs, and Dresden is slowly driving us insane. And I mean, it's not a long trip, so
no.
But I've been I've been reading a lot of comics. I've been drawing, getting some drawings in, doing some digital inking. A friend of mine, my friend Keith, contacted me and was like, "Hey, man, what's going on with some of the project we're working on?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, I will get back to work on that too." And which I've been working on it. I just needed to kind of kick it in the butt a little bit more. And yeah, it should be pretty much about it. I mean, Stella and we've been kind of, like I said, kind of trying to finish off some TV shows and watch some movies that we've been meaning to get around to. And I'd really like to sit and just binge The Lord of the Rings like nonstop. That would be awesome. But Stella's never seen it, and so we're starting with the Hobbit movies and kind of like as a kind of ease her in with these relatively lighter Hobbit movies. But yeah, that's been about it really, and just kind of I tell you, one of the things that's a little more like kind of unnerving about this is just the wait and see. There has been a lot of not so much confirmation yet, but we will most probably be getting the stay-at-home order will probably be extended through the end of April now, because it was supposed to end at the end of the week.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. Well, next week, 13th. And but now they're saying it could potentially go until the end of the month. And yeah, that's probably wise and safe for everybody, but it's definitely like worrisome for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I see that's the thing too. Normally, I mean, for me, I usually come home from Bay Area in Florida. Usually get home about either this time, depending on how the weeks fall. I would be getting home about now, or maybe the week before, and then I would be pretty much, doing what I'm doing now for the next month until the parade company, give or take, depending on what's going on at the parade company, until they're ready to bring me back. I usually get brought in late April, early to mid-May,
Mm-hmm.
and so this isn't that out of the ordinary. But the fact that I can't go anywhere, and the fact that everything is shut down, is the unnerving part. And I think the uncertainty is what's really getting to me and getting to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what's coming next. We don't know when we're going to be going back to work. How long our savings is going to last. When the various different relief funds are going to be available. Whether people are going to get unemployment or not. Stella signed in for unemployment, but she didn't qualify for it because she wasn't at the bookstore for long enough. So now she's got to wait for the COVID-19 relief stuff, which whenever that's going to happen, who knows? I mean, I can't even file my taxes. Which is a little unnerving too. I could use that tax return.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's the thing that's bothering me the most, I guess. It's just like what is the uncertainty of what's coming and when we're gonna get through all of this. So, So that's what I do, and sit and fret about that. So, other than that, I'm playing Mass Effect Andromeda, which I don't. So far, I'm actually enjoying. I don't understand why people didn't like it very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get in. We can talk about that.
Yeah, because I saw that you were playing that the other night, and that was one of the things I was going to ask you about, was what you thought of it. Cause
well, we can talk about that in a bit. But to go in order, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a beer that I found. It's one of my favorites. It's not one I've had before on the show, but it is. It's from New Holland. It is the Dragon's Milk Reserve. And that's why I say it's one of my favorites, because I really like the reserves that they do. This is the 2020 Reserve number 1. They're not actually just like calling them the things anymore. It looks like they're just giving them the year reserve and then the number, because I think they're doing 4 per year. This particular one is it's a milk stout. It's the Dragon's Milk Stout that has been aged in rum barrels with chocolate, hazelnut, and toasted coconut.
Okay.
It is 12.5% ABV. Jesus. So if anything is still alive inside my my body, this should kill it. I have not tried this yet. It's got a very boozy aroma.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like somebody's drinking some Stella, or likes Stella.
Stella Artois. Hey man, their cider is actually pretty solid. The Cidre.
Yeah.
Stella Artois Cidre. It's actually not bad.
So
I like it.
This beer, when I'll hold it up here, it's quite dark. Oops, where's the mic? There we go. Camera. I got to learn how to use the camera here. So quite dark.
Yeah, it's very dark.
Nice off-white head. It has a boozy aroma, and you can get a lot of the other stuff that's in there. Like you get the hazelnut and the toasted coconut, at least a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and taste it here. Okay. That's a lot going on there. Well, it's got the alcohol warmth that goes right down the
at 12.5%, I would assume as much.
Not all of them do, but this one does. It's actually probably one of the best rum barrel aged beers I've had. I normally don't like the rum barrel aged stuff, but this doesn't have that overpowering rum flavor to it. You do get some of the coconut, you get a little bit of the hazelnut, but there's a lot of chocolate, which there normally is on a normal Dragon's Milk, but this one, it seems like there's even more, and it's kind of like a dark chocolate. It's pretty good. Mm. But yeah, if you just take a little sip, just a tiny sip, then you get a lot more of the alcohol. But yeah, this isn't bad. It's definitely not my favorite of the Dragon's Milks. I mean, this is nothing like the banana coconut one that I had before. That was just outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not bad. I would give this probably, I'll say 3.25 bottle caps.
Okay.
But again, this is one that just came out. I don't know how widely distributed it is or how readily available. It is one of the more expensive ones because it is a limited run. I think they're usually around $20 for a 4-pack, or $5 or $6 for a single. But yeah, it's the Dragon's Milk Reserve 2020 Reserve 1 Rum Barrel Aged Stout with chocolate, hazelnut, and toasted coconut by New Holland, out of Holland, Michigan. So, what about you?
All right.
You drinking anything tonight?
I'm drinking a lovely, carbonated beverage known to the world as Pepsi.
Again?
Again, yeah. We went to the store yesterday we went to Walmart again, and I've made it very clear that I do not care to shop at Walmart. I don't like the way they treat their employees and stuff.
Some good people.
The show, if you ever get yeah, and if you get the opportunity to watch the show Superstore on, I think it's an NBC show, and it's on Hulu and stuff. It's actually based largely on what goes on like a gag of Walmart. But that's the place it's one of the places that accepts Stella's insurance for her prescriptions. So we went last week and. Walked in, whatever. We used gloves, and it was relatively quiet in there. I mean, for a store of that size. This week, there was a lot. You had to stand in line to get in there. Mm-hmm. They were only allowing a certain number of people in the store at a time. A lot of
stores are going to that now.
Yeah, and so we went in. We did a little bit of shopping and stuff. And they don't really at Walmart. They don't really have a good selection of ciders that I haven't already tried. And I neglected to stop and get something elsewhere, mainly because a lot of the liquor stores, I don't know. I got to try. A lot of the places, like the grocery stores, they're not carrying anything that I haven't already reviewed, really. So, unfortunately, unless I want to get into like some of the other malt beverages, like the various different flavors of like Mike's Hard Lemonade and shit like that.
You get some Mad Dog 2020.
I have too much respect for myself, Chris. Too much respect for myself to drink that swill. Which is why I'm also not drinking things like the White Claw and some of the other things. Nobody needs me to review White Claw. I mean, apparently it's gotten around enough.
Zima. Suggested by a listener.
Fuck you, man. I did my Zima in the 90s. That was a dark day, man, let me tell you. Everybody was drinking that shit. It was really funny, too, because it was bad as it was actually pretty popular. Mm-hmm. Because
I know somebody.
It was different.
I know somebody that really liked it, and you know what?
To
each their own. Did we make fun of him?
It was very different.
Yes. Do we still make fun of him for it? Yes.
Hope so. Yeah.
But you know what? To each their own.
Well, I drank it mainly because it was different. I mean, this was before there was Dresden. This was before there was a ton of alternatives to drinking. To different kinds of drinks. Hang on, my dog has got. Look at this. My dog seems to like, bottles.
Yeah, we've got it.
This is an ex-Pepsi bottle.
Yeah, that's the thing. See, one of our dogs likes that too, but they don't go after the 2 liters.
Yeah, well, your dogs aren't 90 pounds.
Right. Both of them combined aren't 90 pounds.
He might not be quite 90. He's probably in between 80 and 90 somewhere, but anyway, so needless to say, I did not pick up anything, but I will do what I can to perchance pick something else up next time. Dresden, you're making way too much noise. I have to close the door. So anyway, no, I'm not drinking anything tonight, but perhaps next week. What else? What else is going on?
Well,
Moving on.
I've been watching Westworld. Have you caught up on that yet?
No, that was something that's. Hang on, let me. You know what? He's making too much noise. It's probably gonna annoy our listeners. Hang on, come on, get out.
So while Russ takes care of the dog, I've been watching Westworld, and if you're not watching Westworld, you probably should because it's really, really good. So,
I love Westworld, and Stella and I haven't had the chance to pick up the new season yet. I do have the HBO edition on my Amazon Prime, so we'll probably get into that now pretty soon. But yeah, I hear that season 3 is stunningly different from the previous two seasons.
Is. Well, I mean, first of all, it takes place in the real world, so
right,
that's part of it. But yeah, it's way different, and it's still just as mind-bendingly fucked up as the other seasons. But
okay.
Yeah, I think this was the 4th episode that just came out this week, and I've already watched it. We're usually watching it on Mondays now. Now that we don't have trivia to go to, we're like, let's watch everything that came out on Sunday, which is like when all of our current shows come out. So pretty much by Tuesday, we're like, all right, what are we going to watch now?
Well, yeah, I was thinking maybe we could take suggestions from our listening audience here that of what they would like to hear us review. Like, we could get started. We could maybe even get started on a show that's ended, like Magicians, The Magicians, or something like that. Because I mean, isn't Westworld's about 3 or 4 episodes in?
I think this is the 4th episode that just came out this week. Yeah.
Okay.
Boone's Farm. I'm seeing more suggestions.
Oh no! Well, fuck you, man. I'm not drinking that.
Someone else said
I drank that shit when I was, in my 20s, like everybody does. My 19, 20, 21 years old, because that's what we thought we were supposed to drink.
Yeah. Zima, the stuff's left over after they mopped the floor.
Oh, God. So yeah, I am looking forward to I mean, we could start reviewing Westworld. I could definitely binge the next 4 or 5 episodes in the next few days, and next week we could talk about it. But it does take place in the real world, and from what I understand, yeah, like characters may not be who they seem to be.
Oh, dude, and, yeah. Like I said, it's mind-bendingly fucked up. But yeah, we won't get into that right now since you haven't watched it yet. But yeah, just check it out. I'm still really enjoying the show. I think it's been fantastic. I wasn't sure where they were going to go with it, and I'm still not sure exactly where all they're going with it. But it's okay. Good.
Awesome. Well, HBO doesn't make bad television.
Yeah, I don't know. There's been some stuff that hasn't been great.
There's been stuff that has been less well received than others, but I've never seen them put out a show that was a complete stinker. I mean, there's never been in the entire time I've been watching HBO since its inception. That's something that's really wild. That we can actually say that we've been watching HBO since it pretty much started.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't have HBO when it first started, we knew people that did.
My family had HBO before we had cable.
Okay, so you had it when it was just when you at 8 o'clock or whatever. A certain channel would flip.
No, that was on TV that did that. No,
HBO did that too.
It was, we had a giant ass fucking antenna on our roof to pick it up.
Oh right, yeah, yeah, that was pretty wild too. Yeah, before actually there was a such thing as basic cable. There was HBO and Showtime and a couple of the other just pay channels that you could get. So yeah, I mean, I didn't have HBO at the very beginning, but I knew people that did, so I was able to go over there and watch it and whatever. And so we've been watching HBO since the beginning, and it's I can honestly say, I mean, since HBO started making television, there's never been a show that I would say was awful or terrible or don't bother, you know. There were some shows that were really, you know, maybe not necessarily my cup of tea, but overall, they put out some pretty amazing stuff. I'd love to sit and binge The Sopranos at some point.
Yeah, that's one I
I
want to
think,
see. I want to watch that. I want to watch True Blood at some point. I've never watched that.
oh yeah.
I
Hmm.
mean, I've watched bits and pieces here and there. Like I think I've watched most of the first season, but that's about it. Um, I just started Supernatural, which that's a commitment.
Right.
Um,
That is.
that's like a
That's 15
that's
seasons.
like a lifelong commitment at this point with
Yeah.
that many. And then I'm actually almost at the end of season 1 because I've watched season 1 twice all the way through, and this is the third time I think that I'm watching season 1. And I've watched part of season 2 once, but it's one of those where I watch the season, I stop watching it for some reason, and then I go back and I'm like, well, fuck, I'm gonna have to check it out again. But now I've seen it so many times, I don't need to see all those monster of the weeks up until that point.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Well, it's interesting. Like COVID-19 may be changing. I mean, this is changing the way we're living our lives right now, at the very least. And I think I mentioned it last week. We're going to see some like permanent, I think, or at least we're going to see a lot of changes to the way we do things. At the very least, I think governmentally and the way the health industry is and everything, we're going to see some changes to that. And who knows, it could be in a positive way. And I'm hoping that that's the case. So we could see a greater understanding that for universal health care and need for the understanding of the need of it. But one of the other things that we're seeing is it's just something as simple as production for media is going to be changing. They're talking about, and I was reading about it a little bit while you were setting things up, that this could change the length of seasons on television shows. That the typical 22 to 24 episode season order could go down a lot more, and it could be starting very much with the Arrowverse. Now, several of the shows from the Arrowverse have not completed their filming for the season. In fact, Supergirl was one of the only ones that still was almost done. They had a couple of days of shooting for their finale left. Now, they're saying that they may not even bother to go back, and that the editors and the various the showrunners are going to be able to put some stuff together to finish up the season finale without too much more filming or any more filming. But several of the other shows, The Flash and Batwoman, Supergirl, and combined, The Flash, Supergirl, and Batwoman have 3 to 6 episodes left to shoot. This has in turn caused the CW to shake up their airing schedule, as all 4 of the DC dramas won't return until late April. Warner Brothers TV is attempting to film and air those episodes later in 2020, but that could potentially change. Despite all the DC shows having been renewed, it has yet to be determined when they can begin filming, as well as premiering these new seasons. The status quo for most of the Arrowverse series, except Legends of Tomorrow and Black Lightning, which both finished much earlier in the year, has begun to shoot 22 episodes from July to April. So they shoot, 22 episodes throughout. And they're saying that one of the reasons why they do 22 episodes is to make sure that there are enough episodes to be shown all the way from October, to the end of May or whenever it is. So they're saying that 22 episodes have proven to be way too much. One of the oldest formats that many networks go with is the 22 episode order, which automatically guarantees said shows to run from September to October to May. But the TV landscape has evolved over the years with less live viewing and more devotion to streaming binge watching. It's one of the many factors that have made the 22 episode structure outdated. With hiatuses also coming into play, it has been proven to affect viewers and their consistent commitment to their favorite shows. But the biggest element that this excessive episode order has confirmed is that it can affect the qualities of season-long story arcs. The Flash, instead of doing one long season, the new showrunner kind of broke it up into what he called graphic novels. So like 6 episodes on one subject, 6 episodes on another subject, kind of thing. So we could be seeing shorter episodes or shorter seasons, episodes of more like 10 to 16 episodes, or even less, kind of like the British model of what they do. So, we could see this could change. I mean, just because of the time frame and the of COVID-19 and what's doing.
You've got the streaming model, like the Netflix model, which is 10 to
13. Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
I may have lost you. Oh, reconnecting. There's a poor network connection. Oh no. Oh, okay.
You back?
I got you back.
Okay. Yeah, I never lost you.
Yes, I'm back. Okay.
I never lost you, so yeah.
Oh, really? I'm
on your side.
Yeah, completely. It said poor connection, so it was reconnecting.
So the streaming model is what I was going to talk about, like the Netflix model, which is the 10 to 13 episodes.
Yeah.
For every season, and it seems to work for certain shows. At least it works for them, and they can tell an entire story. I've said that I would like to see them do the Dresden Files that way, like on a streaming service, whether it's Netflix or Prime or one of those, and do each book as a season.
Sure.
So you can actually tell the entire story. But you were talking about...
Well, that's the other thing too. Like on the streaming services, they can do an episode that's a full 60 minutes or close to it, without the commercials and stuff like that, and they're still getting a full hour. Your full hour a long episode. These other shows are doing
42.
An hour long television is 42 to 44 minutes. So, so that's the other thing. They have the benefit of releasing an episode that is actually longer than what you're getting on these other shows. So I'd be okay with that. If they're going to cut down the number of episodes to instead have longer episodes, sure, why not? Yep. That's what apparently on the DC streaming service, that's kind of what you get. You get Titans and Doom Patrol were anywhere from 13 to 15 episodes. And but their episodes were beyond the 42-minute standard for an hour-long show, so that's cool.
Yeah, one of the other shows that I was just reading about earlier that is getting delayed as well is the next season of Archer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's getting pushed back from May 6th, when it was supposed to come out, to sometime later in the year. They haven't actually said when yet.
All right. Interesting. It is an animated show. There's a lot of practical work that goes involved. There's more than just the performers. The performers, honestly, they're sitting in a room recording their lines. You want to talk about social distancing. I mean, they're in a box, basically, a sealed sound room with a microphone and their script, and they're reading, their lines. Most of the time, an animated show is not recorded with everybody in the same room. It's usually one person, reading their lines. Although apparently the Justice League cartoon was filmed or was recorded with everybody, almost everybody in the same room, quite often. So, but then the art of Archer, the animation process and stuff, that takes a lot of people and whatnot. So, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, one of our friends in the chat pointed out that there is a list on Goliath.com that is the 20 worst HBO shows ever made.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
I'm just going to run through them real quick because a lot of these I've never even heard of. The Brink, which I guess was a political comedy that was supposed to be somewhat of a satire of real life events. It was Tim Robbins and Jack Black.
Oh yeah. Okay. No. I saw something about that. It's a relatively newer one. It was something about starting a war or trying to start wars or for political reasons and that kind of thing. So I'm not sure. Okay, fair enough. There's one that was bad.
19, Any Given Wednesday with Bill Simmons. It was a sports show.
Okay.
That didn't last long. 18, Angry Boys was an Australian mockumentary series that starred Chris Lilly, who actually played all 6 main characters, each with different personalities. The characters ranged from rapper to Japanese mother to surfing champion to prison guard.
Okay, I you know what? If it's if it's an out of country one that we didn't necessarily get here in the States, I'm not going to count them, because if there was no way for us to see them, then fine. But so all right, go ahead.
Next is Rome, which I've heard good things about.
Rome? Yeah, I heard that was cool. I don't know.
This one was hugely popular, I thought, but Entourage.
Oh man, Entourage was good. That wasn't a bad show. I mean, it had its bad. There were some episodes that were kind of, and there's some certain seasons that were not as good as others. But Entourage overall was a pretty good show.
Jamie, Private School Girl.
Oh, that's another. I've seen
one.
Another Australian one. Basically it's that guy is the guy that does those shows. He's a character comedian. He does a lot of characters and stuff like that, and one of which is like a teenage girl, and yeah. So I don't know. I've never seen any of those episodes, but I know what those shows are.
Vice Principals, which I wanted to like, but really could not get into.
I never watched it, but I heard it was pretty funny, actually.
Vinyl, which another one that I wanted to get into and just couldn't get into, and it only lasted like one season.
That lasted one season.
Tell Me You Love Me, which I don't know.
Don't know that one.
Divorce, which I remember hearing about, but I never saw anything of it.
Who was in that?
Sarah Jessica Parker, it looks like, came back.
And yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't hear too much, but yeah, it was about an older, like a couple in their 40s or late 40s getting a divorce or something like that, and Sarah Jessica Parker and what's his name? He used to be, I think he was a guy he was on that show Wings, and he played the Sandman in Spider-Man 3. I'm blanking on his name right now, but
yeah, Hayden Christian Church.
Hayden
Church Christian,
yeah.
Or whatever. He had 3 names.
Right. Thomas Hayden Church.
Thomas Hayden Church, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't hear good or bad on that one, so.
Number 10, True Blood.
See, that's the thing about True Blood. True Blood it went season to season. There were some seasons, like the first season was fucking out of the gate amazing. And then I think, if I remember correctly, its follow-up season was kind of weak, and then it just it was depending on which season. Some were better, some were not as good, and it didn't have the best ending. But it was still entertaining. It was still pretty cool. There was some really like awesome dialogue. There were some amazing characters. So I call bullshit on that one. True Blood was good. It just wasn't spectacular the whole time. You had to kind of, you had to take the good with the bad on True Blood.
Luck, which
I don't remember that one.
This is one I've heard good things about. Hung.
Oh, Hung was fun. Hung was good. It was the cool thing about that is it took place in Detroit, in the Detroit area, and they did a lot of filming. They filmed a lot of exteriors. They did some filming was still filmed in California, but a lot of it was filmed here. And I remember some hearing about friends getting gigs as extras and some of the filming and stuff. And Stephen Amell was on that show too before he got Arrow. Hung was a funny show, and it was all about this guy that just basically he was down on his luck. He was a school teacher. He was broke. He had a fire in his house. I mean, this is kind of a schlub that just had a lot of fucking problems. But one thing he did have was a big dick, and he became a gigolo, and it showed him doing that. But it was also the ins and outs of it, and had the tough how it could be kind of the tough things he was going through, but it wasn't really so much about him being a gigolo. It was more about his problems, and it was I liked it. I thought it was a cool character piece. So
7 is The Comeback.
The Comeback. Oh, that's with what's her name from
Lisa
Friends,
Kudrow.
isn't it? Yeah, Lisa Kudrow.
Uh,
Yeah, I didn't.
6 was Lucky Louie. This is Louis C.K.
Oh, okay.
This is his first.
Well,
he's kind of
he's kind of persona non grata these days.
Well, yeah, but this was before all that. Hello, Ladies. It's a.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a Stephen Merchant. I'm not even sure what it was.
Oh, yeah, Stephen Merchant. Okay, yeah, it was that show was basically about a dude that was just in his dating woes.
Gawky foreigner looking for love in modern day Los Angeles.
Right, exactly.
Number 4 is Carnival.
No, see, now that's some bullshit, man. I've never watched Carnival, but I heard people talk about how that show was incredible.
Well, it starts off saying there's nothing worse than wasted potential. It pains us when we come across a show that is clearly bad, but hidden in all the terrible are the kernels of something good, glimpses of what could have been.
Yeah, that's too bad, because I've never watched that one myself, but I heard a lot of things that were really, really cool about that show.
How to Make It in America.
I'm not familiar with that one.
That one. Number 2 is In Treatment, which I haven't heard of that one. I
think it was just a show about a psychiatrist and his patients and stuff like that.
Yeah, would like to sit through someone else's therapy session. And then number 1, John from Cincinnati.
Wasn't that something about maybe like Jesus coming back or something like that?
We circle back around to Deadwood creator David Milch again, and this time we're going to talk about his extremely poor HBO series John from Cincinnati, a collaborative effort between Milch and acclaimed surf author Kem Nunn. John from Cincinnati is a broody melodrama which follows the ripple effects of a mysterious young man's appearance and influence in the surfing community of Southern California. The series, which is almost universally panned despite the strong push from HBO to position it as a hit, remains one of the biggest flops in the network's history. It was canceled after only 1 season, despite a strong cast which included the always underrated Bruce Greenwood, Rebecca De Mornay, and Ed O'Neill.
All right. Well, okay, so I stand corrected. Maybe HBO has made some stinkers, but in its 30 plus years, it's only had that few. I mean, that's pretty good. And honestly, it's still a good. I mean, even those shows that were considered like kind of bad, they still had really good production values. They looked good. There was a lot of money spent on those shows. They could afford it. So I still I still stand by the fact that HBO hasn't overall made bad television, and that list was not accurate. There were some shows on there that were good. So I'd say the biggest one I'd have to say is True Blood. True Blood was a good show. It had some weak seasons, but it had a good show, or it was a good show itself. So. So, yeah.
One of the other things I wanted to talk about, I know we kind of hit on it last week, but we didn't really get into it. But I've been seeing what the actual new Marvel movie timeline is. And for some reason...
I'm just going to bring that up, too.
I'm sorry. I just got to bring this up. Because for some reason, your screen... I don't know if you're doing something on your side with your Skype or whatever, but your picture keeps changing size. And
I think I'm moving in and back too much, and I think it's my camera keeps trying to refocus. So I just need to be like move around less.
Yeah, because it's like it keeps moving and changing your size, and I have to keep adjusting it, and then all of a sudden I look over and then it's changed. So again, things we're learning as we go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sorry about that,
yeah.
guys.
So the new
So anyway,
Marvel movie schedule.
yeah, it's changed pretty dramatically here.
Really dramatically for some.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the Black Widow it was originally planned for May 1st release, was postponed due to coronavirus theater close. Will now come to theaters on November 6th, which was the date that was held by the Eternals, which is kind of a drag. Now that pushes the Eternals to next year.
February 12th of next year.
Which was what Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was supposed to do. Now that's moving to May 7th. Which was a date that was previously held by Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Which is moving to actually to November 5th of next year.
Correct. And then after that,
there is Morbius on March 19th.
Correct. And then Thor: Love and Thunder is now shifting all the way to February 18 of 2022.
Yeah, they're saying that Spider-Man 3 is looking at July 16th of 2021. Thor: Love and Thunder is February 28th of 2022. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse sequel is April 8th of 2022.
Yeah. And then thankfully the Black Panther 2 is maintaining its date of May 6th, 2022. And then they have finally given a date for the previously undated Captain Marvel 2, which has been scheduled now for July 8th of 2022. And then they had previously reserved a July 29th date, 2022 date for an unnamed film.
And then they're also saying that Venom 2, which has a to-be-determined date still, but there's also an August 8th, 2021 date that they're saying is another Sony Marvel film that they were originally saying could have been like the Sinister Six movie that they've been talking about, that they may now make that the new home for Venom 2.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. This is... I mean, there's a part of me, I was kind of hoping that... they would just end up putting Black Widow out on Disney Plus just so that I could fucking see it. Because I really want to fucking see it. But I think that putting it in the theaters, waiting and pushing it until to the theaters reopen is a better idea. It deserves a theatrical opening. People still don't have the same respect for a film, at least not at this point until it gets a theatrical opening. But I mean, pushing it all the way to November, I think kind of sucks. I think they could have probably squeezed it in July or something like that. And since so many things are being moved and pushed back. The thing is, though, I mean, they're saying, I saw a headline saying that AMC may not survive this shutdown. It's amazing to me that a company as big as AMC Theaters could potentially close because their theaters have been closed for a few weeks. That they operate that tightly on that tight of a shoestring budget, it seems a little weird to me. Now, my guess is if AMC, shutters or closes, some other theater company will probably come along and take over those theaters, because that's a big theater company. There's a lot of AMC theaters. I just think that's kind of screaming horseshit. I really want to see. Yeah, see, you're right. The fucking screen looks weird.
Yeah, well, your audio is going bad. Your video went low grade, so I think you're pushing your internet connection right now.
Oh, okay, that could be it. That might be it. I wonder if Stella's streaming something. I don't know. Anyway, I just feel like that Marvel could have put out the book or put out the movie in July instead of pushing it all the way and then having to push all these movies further back. I don't fucking like it. So I don't know.
Some of the other stuff though that came out of this that we didn't have before is we got confirmation that there's going to be an Ant-Man 3.
Right on.
We also got confirmation that there will be a Blade reboot.
Yeah, well, no. That was in the works for a while. Marhasha Ali is supposed to play the new Blade. Yeah, no, that's been that was in the works for quite a while. It's last time
but Marvel actually announced it.
Okay.
They also have been talking, I guess, about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but there's still no date for that either.
Well, that is definitely something that I am super excited for. I mean, holy crap, that's going to be awesome. I'm glad, because that was the other thing, too, that was one of those ones that was like, people were really concerned about, because it was it was kind of up in the air for a while, because of James Gunn, and then he had to delay it even more because he was filming Suicide Squad. So, I actually stopped, speaking of Suicide Squad, I stopped in it when I was at Walmart the other day. I wanted to see if Birds of Prey was out on Blu-ray yet, because it is available on download. You can download it, but it doesn't come to Blu-ray until like mid-May, I believe.
Okay.
Still a ways away, early May. So what else?
Well, I mean, I've got a list and a couple other things we could talk about, but is there anything you wanted to get into?
I did want to mention a couple of things. Apparently, Marvel and DC have both stated that they will not be releasing any new comics this week. Those comic fans out there, they are holding back, continuing to hold back. Diamond Distributors is still not open. They're still closed, due to coronavirus, COVID-19. So, DC and Marvel have both stated they will not release any new books or new print books or digital books this week. So, for the comic fans out there, you're not falling behind, at the very least. So that's kind of good. Also, for those of you guys who are kind of curious, there is a show on Netflix called the original Drink and Draw Social Club, and where it's hosted by it's a YouTube show. I haven't watched it yet, but I've been meaning to get to it. It's a weekly live stream show hosted by Dan Panosian and Dave Johnson, or a couple of writer artists. They are having their guests this week. No bullshit. Marvel's executive vice president / creative director Joe Quesada, who has become a regular part of the show, and he's going to be also. They're going to have Dan Didio, who was one of the publishers of DC Comics. He'd been pretty much helming DC for the last 10 to 15 years. It was recently fired. I talked about it in a previous episode. He was pretty much given the boot about a month ago, 2 months ago. So this Thursday at 8 o'clock on April 9th, 8 o'clock Eastern, they're going to have that episode with Dan Didio. This is the first time Dan Didio has done anything public since his firing. So it should be interesting to see if people actually, maybe he answers some questions about what happened, why he was released, and whatnot. So that was that. That could be kind of interesting. I think I might tune in for that, because I'm super curious about it. Also, they are releasing more and more information about the cast for this new Superman Lois Lane CW Arrowverse show. They've cast Lana Lang. The new Lana Lang is going to be Emmanuelle Chikri. You may recognize her. She's been in a bunch of different things.
Entourage that we were just talking about.
She was on Entourage. Correct. I was just going to mention that. She was on. She was a regular, a regular guest on Entourage. She was a regular for a couple of seasons, and then would come back periodically. And she was in shows like The Mentalist. She did some voiceover work. I mean, she's one of those actresses that you'd recognize. That there's oh yeah, I remember her from that thing, but I don't remember her ever doing anything really monstrous. To kind of it's just this really kind of pretty girl that is fairly memorable. She's going to be playing Lana Lang.
And then also they've cast Lois's father, General Sam Lane, is going to be played by Dylan Walsh. Dylan Walsh is known for being on the show Blue Bloods, and he was also one of the main characters from the show Nip Tuck.
Okay.
So there's another kind of recasting there, because they had a different actor who was playing Sam Lane in previous shows, but he was also the Sam Lane from another. Well, no. It would have been on, because Superman is a spinoff from the Supergirl show, so it would be the same guy. So yeah, they basically recast General Sam Lane. So that's that. There's that. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much all I was gonna deal with right there. That's all I could think of. Oh, Onward has been went to Disney Plus. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to be watching it this week. Did you want to maybe plan a review of that for next week?
Sure. I just watched it over the weekend, so we can talk about that next week.
Yeah, I saw Renee on the Twitch, on our Discord, and said something about it and said that you guys had watched it. So I haven't watched it yet. Planning on watching it. It looks really awesome. I heard really great things.
It's a cute movie.
Yeah. I heard it was really funny. I heard there's a lot of D&D references that are pretty funny. So, want to catch that. So.
All right. Cool.
Anyway, what else did you want to talk about?
Well, I found a list on a. We haven't done a list in a while. So I just thought that this would be kind of interesting. We just did one earlier with the 10 worst HBO shows, but this is one I was actually going to talk about. It's which DC hero are you based on your zodiac sign?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, we start with Aries and work through. So, you got any guesses for Aries?
Who would be a good superhero for the Aries? Yeah. No, because I'm not. Other than my own, I'm not really overly familiar with the ins and outs of the zodiac. So why don't you take the lead on this one, big guy?
I'm not sure about this one, but Aries they say is Green Arrow. Aries are usually like hotheads that fly off. That's what they're known for. They're known for being aggressive.
The comic book version, I would say that's fairly accurate. I'd say, yeah.
But yeah, they say Green Arrow was born into money, which naturally makes him egotistical. He's socially liberal and has an outgoing persona that makes him either liked or disliked upon first meeting somebody. Underneath the hard shell, he's passionate, shows vulnerabilities when one gets to know him, which I guess that fits.
Yeah.
Taurus, April 20th through May 20th, is Raven. Taurus is known for containing their feelings. It's extremely difficult to get a Taurus to open up, but once they feel comfortable, they make some of the greatest friends. The Taurus is the sign of the bull, which makes for personalities comprised of unwavering strength and extremely strong will. So, Gemini, May 21st through June 20th, John Constantine.
Sure.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Gung-ho personality that tends to be a little bit much at times. Makes him hard to be around, but a necessity all the same. He may get cocky and may have a bad attitude, but he has a deep understanding of how to defeat a foe and will go to great lengths to achieve his desires. Cancer, June 21st through July 22nd, Green Lantern. Green Lantern relies on his problem-solving skills as a tool for battle because his power ring could easily take control of him if he isn't absolutely sure of every outcome. He's extroverted, clever, and a leader, and not only others, but more importantly himself. When dealing with the power ring, he has to be in control of himself and his actions, or it could be detrimental. Leo, July 23rd through August 22nd, is Black Canary. Leos are extremely enthusiastic and go into every situation with a great attitude. Although they are quick to make other observations along the way, they stay confident in the overall outcome. Black Canary is confident and clear-headed. She is a trainer and takes care of young heroes with the utmost care in the world, although when her life is at stake, she can get wild and a little hot-headed, which lines up perfectly with how Leos sometimes react to situations. Virgo, which is what I am, August 23rd through September 22nd, is Booster Gold.
Man, I like Booster. He's always been like I've been reading comics like when I was I've been reading comics since I was like 5 or 6. But when I first started collecting comic books actively when I was about 12, Booster Gold had just joined, or within a few months, had joined the Justice League. So he's often been like. He's been a character I've always kind of paid attention to and has always been around.
I had the first issue of Booster Gold. I don't know that I really got into it though. But they basically say he's an obnoxious glory hound who has nothing but self-confidence, which to me is not the way that you describe a Virgo. Much so that he is actually considered one of his best abilities that enhance his superpowers of advanced technological flight and time travel. In hand-to-hand combat, he not only weakens his enemies with his punches, but also with mockery. Virgos have a dominant personality that is intense and observant within every situation. They're perfectionists and are arrogant, which makes them sometimes hard to deal with, but also makes them very powerful at the same time. Perfect combination with the DC hero Booster Gold. Libra, September 23rd through October 22nd, is The Flash. He's geeky, socially awkward, and an all-around nerd. He's an optimal functioning introvert that gets the job done, all while staying close within himself. He's able to run himself out of any situation and vice versa when he wants to be part of the party. He's charming, well-balanced, and precise, making him a great all-around DC hero.
Well, we're talking which Flash are we talking about?
It just says Flash.
See, that's some horse shit. Barry and Wally are both very different Flashes.
This is Barry that they're talking about, I believe.
Okay.
Scorpio, this is the one that I was able to pick out. I knew which one was going to wind up here. October 23rd through November 21st. I'm Scorpio. It's
oh God.
Batman. Yep.
Batman.
Intelligent, obsessive, admirable, and can be a jerk, making for a perfect resemblance of a Scorpio. Scorpios are often misunderstood because of their intense and harsh personalities that make for an overall strong presence to be around. Batman holds strong willpower to keep his identity a secret, but also exemplifies the best and worst of his introverted and extroverted side. Sagittarius, November 21st through the 22nd, or December 22nd, is Robin, which kind of surprised me. But they bring out the fact that he's noble, heroic, kind, selfless, and stubborn. He knows how to have fun and make light of a situation, but gets down to business when necessary. Robin is known for always have a positive mentality and outlook on any situation, which juxtaposes Batman perfectly. Capricorn, sure. December 22nd through January 19th. Soups.
Soups.
Superman. Yep.
He's a Capricorn.
Superman is in tune with everything around him. He is quiet in nature, but a fearless leader. He's known for his phenomenal selfless heroics in the line of duty and for being an overall loyal and brave warrior. He's grounded and doesn't let much affect him, but when something does get to him, it's clearly shown for the world to see. Aquarius, January 20th through February 18th. And I thought this one was just too cliched. You want to guess who it is?
Yep. Aquaman. Of course. I'm an Aquarius. I wouldn't really say Aquaman. I mean, go ahead, read the description.
Aquaman greatly cares about his home life and as a result has been known to be very private. Those born under Aquarius are extremely private individuals. However, they are kind, mysterious, and free-spirited.
I wouldn't say Aquaman is mysterious and free-spirited. He's not. That's not accurate, but okay. That's the thing. Okay, keep going. Sorry. I was just saying, like, some of this stuff is like, it's similar to, I mean, it's very open to
Yes.
interpretation, and it's similar to like the things that you see, like we're gonna put the various superheroes in the four Harry
Yeah.
Potter houses,
Well, yeah,
and
that's why it's just a fun list. It's not anything that I believe. It's just kind of fun. So the last one, Pisces, February 19th through March 20th, is Wonder Woman,
mm-hmm.
which I do not see her as a Pisces. Wonder Woman is
Okay.
a fearless leader. She represents those who feel voiceless and gives them the strength to speak out. She is stubborn, caring, and outgoing, and always sees a successful outcome. Those born under the fish are creative, empathetic, and amiable. They can be known to care too much, which makes them vulnerable to self-doubt, which is true, which is the one thing I really don't see in Wonder Woman a lot. She's pretty damn confident.
Yeah, self-doubt is not anything that you ever associate
Yeah.
Wonder Woman with. I'd say Superman has more self-doubt than Wonder
Yeah.
Woman does. So,
But yeah, so that was just a list I found on CBR.com. So
interesting. It's just funny how, like, some of these people are creating clickbait and whatever, trying to figure out, what else can we put on, for people to look at. That's
and have
ridiculous.
some silly podcast talk about for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah. Well, I did recently. I did see here that that although Marvel isn't putting out more new stuff, and Marvel or DC, they're not putting out new stuff. There are a lot of things going to Marvel Unlimited this month. In fact, Dawn of X and Power of X and some of these some of the big minis that were last year in the X-Men universe, and a lot of those books are being released. There's a lot of new stuff coming to Marvel Unlimited. So if you guys want to maybe get caught up on some back reading, now is an excellent time to start doing that. All through this month, there's a lot of new things that are going to be added. Honestly, for the amount if you're a comic book reader and you're okay reading on your computer or reading on a tablet or a device or stuff like that, the Marvel Unlimited kind of the series, or not series, the service of Marvel Unlimited is actually a pretty good buy. There's a lot of stuff on it. Same thing with the DC Universe streaming app. And the nice thing about the DC Universe one is you also get all the shows. So you're getting a lot of comic books, and and then a ton of and all these amazing shows too.
With DC Universe is that their comics, I find them lacking for what I want to read. So I go to read I'll start reading the New 52 Batman series, and I get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it jumps to 8. They don't have 5, 6, 7. And that pisses me off. It's like, if you have 8, why don't you have these others?
Well, it could be a storyline thing. Maybe for whatever reason, a particular writer or artist has said, nope, don't put my stuff on the internet. Or it could even be something that it's like they took a break in the main storyline for some other storyline, like some throwaway story, basically, that they're like, this isn't really a part of the ongoing storyline, so they might have just tossed it. But I that bothers me too. You're right. I'm a completionist. I want to be able to read everything that
and
know. And
I haven't run into that problem. The problem I have with Marvel is trying to figure out, because now I'm getting into the late '80s X-Men books, and the
starting to see a lot of crossovers at that point.
And it's the whole X-Force thing, and the starts of X-Force and all that. And I'm going to try and adjust your screen again, because
see, I don't know why that did that.
I don't know why that did that. I adjusted it earlier, and your internet came back up. So there.
Okay.
So yeah. But that's the issue I have now, is that while I'm reading the X-Men, I still want to read those other stories, because that whole thing makes up that story. So I want to be able to figure out, okay, well, all right, so now if I'm reading this storyline, all right, so it's X-Men, 154 or whatever, then the next part of that story is in X-Force 15, and then the next one is in New Mutants, 63, and then the next one's in this one. So that's what I want to see. Is what order those are in. And I think I can do it by searching for that particular storyline. Like the Mutant Massacre is the one I just got through.
Oh man, that is so heavy. That is so fucking heavy. The Mutant Massacre was
of X-Men, but I know that it goes through a ton of other books.
Yeah, there were a lot of books that touched on that. That was one of the I'd say it was one of the earliest kind of X-Men stories that branched off beyond the X-Men. I believe there was an episode or an issue of Thor. There was an issue to a Power Pack. There were, the Mutant Massacre touched on a lot of parts in the Marvel Universe, because that was the time when a lot of the stuff, Marvel would run with different times where, like, certain things were very self-contained within their families. Yeah, it was part of the Marvel Universe, but a lot of times the X-Men stories didn't bleed over into the Avengers stories and vice versa, and Spider-Man, but they all kind of kept to their own little thing with the occasional guest star or whatever. And then, they started seeing the benefit of, say, seeing Wolverine show up in an issue of the Avengers, or Captain America or Spider-Man showing up in an X-Men book, or whatever. So a lot of that was very compartmentalized in the 80s, and then they started kind of branching out a little bit more. So the Mutant Massacre, if I remember correctly, was one of those ones that kind of started. It was one of the first ones to really kind of broaden the horizons.
Yeah. Speaking of Avengers and X-Men and stuff, one of the things I don't think I ever realized was how close the Hellfire Club was to Avengers Mansion. They're right down the street from each other, like literally like a couple blocks. They talk about it in some of the comics, and they actually, you can see a map at one point, and it shows Hellfire Club is like here, Avengers Mansion is here.
Okay, well, Doctor Strange is his Sanctum Sanctorum is in Greenwich Village, and Manhattan is not that big. The island of Manhattan, it's not that. It's a lot of people crammed into a relatively small space. So, hearing some thunder. I just saw some lightning, so. Yeah, well, there's a big severe thunderstorm watch tonight. So, but anyway, there's when you talk about like Luke Cage and Daredevil and Spider-Man, they all kind of, it's amazing they don't run into each other all the fucking time, Daredevil patrols in Hell's Kitchen, which is a pretty small area. It's a few blocks,
it's like a 1 mile square. I actually looked it up because of all those characters being in Hell's Kitchen. I'm like, they would be bumping into each other.
Yeah. You got Luke Cage in Harlem. You got Daredevil in Hell's Kitchen. Spider-Man's from Queens, but he tends to patrol all of Manhattan.
Jessica Jones was actually she was in Manhattan.
She was also in Manhattan. Just if you want to just go with that, the shows, the Netflix shows, they're all kind of in a very similar area. And if you really break it down, New York has a screaming crap ton of superheroes, but they all pretty much operate. Like Captain America used to go out on patrol back in his own, earlier days of his solo book. He used to go out on patrol and patrol New York City too. He's from Brooklyn, as it was very evidently said in the movies and stuff. He's from Brooklyn, but he would patrol like Manhattan as well. And you'd think that maybe some of them would start to branch out to the outer boroughs too, like Queens and stuff like that, but they all kind of stick to Manhattan. And there's always that joke where there's all this superhero activity in New York City. You'd think that there wouldn't be any crime at all, because they're all like, just, there's so many fucking metahumans or superhumans or whatever you want to call them right in New York City. It's one of the nice things that I've always. I mean, the Avengers alone. And I was talking to Stella, actually, making the joke. I was watching Supergirl the other day. What kind of moron would do any kind of, like, spectacular, like, crime in any city that had a fucking superhero like Supergirl or Superman or even Batman, you know? Why would you even take the risk? It's one of those things that we kind of accept with superhero shows and comics and stuff like that. That a lot of criminals are even dumber than than normal, you know, than reality, because they continue to try and perpetrate crime in an area where you've got a superhuman flying around shooting lasers out of his eyes, and that's bulletproof. That's going up, and I'm just gonna pick you up and take you to prison now. Hey, drop you off. There you go, and you know. Where's the habeas corpus?
Oh,
I don't know what even that means. Where's the evidence?
All the shows and everything like that, and comics and all that in DC Universe. The other thing I was going to mention was Harley Quinn started back up season 2 last week.
Yeah, you know, I polished off the first season a couple nights ago. Fuck,
it is,
man,
and
so
the second
good.
season starts off just as strong, dude. It's fucking good.
I didn't start that one yet, but maybe that's the next show we should review. It's Harley Quinn. Man, you guys, if you aren't watching, I mean, that's I'd say one of the biggest reasons really to get the DC Universe streaming service. These shows are incredible, and Harley Quinn knocks it out of the park. I actually read an interview or an article about why she didn't do the stereotypical accent, the Brooklyn accent that she has, and it was mainly because Kaylee Cuoco wanted to bring her own take to the character. The previous actresses that have voiced her in the past did a very distinctive sound and did their own thing, and she wanted to bring her own thing to it. Now, there was an episode near the end of the season called Bensonhurst where she goes back home and goes and visits her mother and her deadbeat father that comes back, her criminal father, and she did start to roll back into that accent a little bit. You know, they did notice that, you know, like looks like maybe her mother is Jewish and her father's Italian, and
both full
just
blown Brooklyn.
Oh, full blown, like stereotypical ridiculousness, but it was so fucking awesome. So, guys, if you're watching any of those shows, man, I mean, like I said, Titans, really great. I'm going to get into second season of Titans real soon. The Doom Patrol was genius.
I still haven't watched.
We've got Swamp Thing was actually, oh man, you really got to check that out. Swamp Thing was also pretty good, and it was a kind of a bummer that didn't get a second season. We've got, of course, Young Justice. Fantastic animation. We've got Harley Quinn, which is also really, really great. Just check it out, guys. This is really good. And you got Stargirl coming up pretty soon too, which they're saying is already getting really good, like, initial reviews. They're saying really good things about it, and I'm really excited about that one too. So that one's, and actually they've upped the premiere date because of like the COVID-19 stuff. So they pushed it forward, so we'll be able to see it a little bit sooner. So,
all right. Well, we should probably wrap things up.
Yeah, I should wrap things up. Sorry again, guys, for the delay. We will do our best to get that all squared away. I think Chris, you more or less figured it out, right?
I think I figured out. Well, I don't know what caused the issue, but I mean, rebooting fixed it. So, but now we know that if we still see a certain thing, then we know that it's not working. So.
Right, exactly. So, but other than that, otherwise, guys, be sure to download it and listen to us at all the places you can find quality podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on iTunes. Of course, we are also on Google, the Google Play Store. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Radio.com, and of course, you can stream and or download any of our episodes at nerdswithalcoholshow.com.
And we are on most of the streaming services. We are on not streaming services, but social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show, Twitter, Drinking Nerds, Instagram, Drinking Nerds, and now Twitch, Drinking Nerds as well.
Exactly.
8 o'clock every Tuesday
Exactly,
is our
Drinking Nerds.
plan for the foreseeable future, at least. If people like it, we'll keep going. And somebody saw your vampire books back there, Russ.
Oh yeah, man!
Steve.
I have probably for role playing, man. For my role playing collection, I have more World of Darkness books than any other. I don't like. I've got some D&D books and stuff like that, but the most I have is World of Darkness. I have a shit ton of that. I picked up a lot of those when I was like I had a lot of disposable income.
But yeah, so we are on Twitch 8 p.m. on Tuesdays, provided we get things going at the right time. So we'll try and get that going as well. And then we're also on Untapped. If you want to look us up on there, that's the beer drinking app. You can look us up on there. We're Drinking Nerds. Send us a friend request, and we will get you added on there. Oh,
exactly.
Steve also saw your bounties. You're a bounty hunter.
What's that? No, I mean, does that make you a bounty? Oh, we're not hoarding it. It was just we just picked it up. It's just and it's paper towel. It's not. Man, it is really crazy. Going to any big grocery store, there's no fucking toilet paper anywhere. It's nuts. Like nothing. The Walmart, the aisle at Walmart was completely empty.
I have a friend that works at a Meijer that's his aisle, and he posts about it all the time. He actually had a guy try and tip him $10 for helping him get a package of toilet paper. And he didn't go out of his way. He just basically said,
wow.
We haven't gotten any off the truck yet. And the guy was like, well, do you know how long? And he's like, you can check back in like 10, 15 minutes. Guy came back. He looked at it, said, nope, there still isn't any more. Guy came back. He had just found one roll or one package. And just as the guy showed back up, so he gave it to the guy, and the guy said, here, you were great. And he's like, nope, I can't accept that. And the guy went, oh, well, what if I just drop it right here, and did that and walked away?
Well, hey, what are you gonna do? Times are tough these days.
So
yeah, you're gonna be considered an essential employee. Yeah. Do it. All right. Well, we should probably wrap things up then, guys. Take care of yourself out there. Be nice. Watch out for each other because we're all we got. It's each other.
So all right. Well, I think on that note.
Until next time. Sláinte.
All right.
Hey, that sounded good.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.